What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, the MMA Mechanic. Welcome to the garage, y'all. So check it out. We're gonna do a reaction video to the Robert Whittaker versus Reinier de Ridder fight night, and yeah, it was a decent card. You know, we had some knockouts, we had some finishes. You know, we did have some fights that were all right. Didn't have the best night on predictions, gonna be honest. I think I was like 6 of 8, but we're gonna get into it because honestly, the question remains: was I wrong or was I right? All right, so let's check it out. First fight of the night, we got Martin Buday versus Marcus Buchecha Almeida. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, this fight went the complete opposite way I thought, and here's the reason. Martin Buday came in great shape. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. He lost what looked to be 30 pounds. You know when you're like super big and fat, and like you slim down a lot, and you see your excess fat, like this like wrinkly fat skin. He had that on his belly, so I'm like, okay, you know, the guy, he really took his conditioning serious. He might have saw my video. He might have saw my video on heavyweights that I did way back when, and you know, started taking his career a little seriously. But yeah, he looked to be in great shape, man. Marcus Buchecha Almeida. In fact, Martin Buday looked like the fresher guy throughout the fight. Buchecha Almeida couldn't get his takedowns in the first round. He was getting takedown stuff. Martin Buday was pushing forward, and you know, he was landing on him, causing some damage to him. The second round, Marcus Almeida did get the takedown, and he was threatening submissions. But then I think this had to be just like exhaustion because he was on top. He was on the back of Martin Buday, and if you're a 17-time Brazilian world champion, you're not giving up that position. Martin Buday literally reverses him, and you know he doesn't do much when he reverses him because it was like I think the last like either 20 seconds of the round, and he lands some good ground and pound on Marcus Buchecha Almeida, and the round ends. But you know, at this point, it's 1-1 going into the third, and you know, it's much of the same that happened in the first round. You know, Buday's pressing forward with the jabs. You know, they did get into a scramble, and Almeida ends up on top again. You know, he's you know, but he gets on top. You know, he's landing nothing punches. At this point, he's exhausted. He's completely exhausted, and you know, Buday versus him, and you know, he finishes the fight on top. The thing is, Martin Buday landed in more significant strikes throughout the round, and ends up winning a decision victory over Marcus Buchecha Almeida. So I was wrong on this first fight, guys. Again, was a little bit of a rough night, but you know, we did have some good victories. So on the next fight of the night, we have Muhammad Yahya versus Stephen Nguyen. Now this fight happened exactly the way I thought it was going to happen, but it was a surprisingly fun fight to watch. Right, so Muhammad Yahya comes in, does absolutely nothing with the, you know, hands down. He's getting cracked. This guy got knocked down, I'm not joking, in like 7 times. I think Stephen Nguyen broke the UFC record for the most knockdowns in a fight in a single round. A single round he did this. Knocked him down like 7 times. Just beating the brakes off a dude, right? But Muhammad Yahya, like, is fighting back. It was so crazy because I know I said Muhammad Yahya doesn't throw any punches, but in the beginning of the second round, he like dropped Stephen Nguyen. I was literally shitting myself because I'm like, damn, man, I can't go 0-2 to start the night. And, you know, sure enough, you know, he doesn't. He ends up, Stephen Nguyen ends up recovering and proceeds to beat the dog shit out of Muhammad Yahya for the remainder of the round. He's swelling up Muhammad Yahya's left eye. Literally, I thought his orbital bone was broken. It was swollen that bad. It was disgusting. It was just really bad. You know, just hematoma on his left eye there. And yeah, Stephen Nguyen got a win by doctor stoppage, so that counts as a TKO. So that's I got that one right. But again, it was a fun fight, man. That was a really fun fight. I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised. I thought that after the first, and listen, let's be honest, after the third or fourth knockdown, the ref should have stopped the fight because Muhammad Yahya, I am shocked that he didn't get permanent, you know, damage for the rest of his life in his eye. Completely shocked. So, yeah, ref should have stopped the fight. They need to. I don't know why the ref didn't stop. Like he like dropped him like 7 times. It's like, how much more proof do you need that a man is it's done? Like, I just don't understand. He was getting dropped throwing all over the octagon. I mean, I was saying that it looked like the punches weren't that were dropping Mohammed. It didn't look that significant, but when I saw the hematoma in the second round, I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, they should have stopped this fight way earlier. Like, crazy. But anyways, on to the next one. We got that one right. This next fight, I'm not gonna lie, I got this one wrong. It's just weird. Like, these fighters will do things in multiple fights and then come out and just completely be a different human, it seems. A different fighter. Ivo Aslan, I mean, when I say nothing, they did absolutely nothing. And Elekana just did a little bit more than nothing and was able to win the fight. That's literally what happened here. I mean, in the third, Elekana does rock Ivo Aslan and stumbles him. But other than that, I mean, this was just a tit for tat, just a really boring fight. There's really nothing to highlight other than the third round where Elekana rocks him and stumbles him. And then the crazy thing is, at the end of the fight, Ivo Aslan was like shocked that he lost. Like, the whole fight, they're over there high-fiving each other. You know when they touch gloves? They're high-fiving each other and all this dumb stuff. I'm like, what are you guys like, Ivo? Don't you, like, I don't know, is your corner not telling you you're losing? Who's your coach, man? Are they not telling you you're losing the fight? Or that the fight is close? Even if the fight was close, it wasn't where you were winning it wasn't where anyone was winning that much to where you could be out there celebrating, slapping high fives. I was really confused by this fight. It was really boring. Again, Ivo Aslan's a guy that comes out like guns blazing usually. So that's why I picked him to win. And he comes out and does the complete opposite of guns blazing. He's like high-fiving this guy. He's like friends with him and laughing. Like, it's just the craziest thing, man. So anyways, Ivo Aslan loses. Elekana wins. I lost this fight. I'm now 1-2 on the night after this fight. So rough start, but now this fight. The first round, Tabatha Ricci clenches up Amanda Ribas. Amanda Ribas escapes. Amanda Ribas is landing jabs. She's moving. She's landing. She even lands 2 judo throws on. She lands a judo throw on Tabatha Ricci on 2 separate times. Yeah, she landed 2 of those on her in the first round. Clearly wins the first round. And it just seemed like she was landing almost at will, right? And in the first round, piecing Tabatha Ricci up. I mean, Tabatha Ricci did have her pressured against the fence in the clinch for a bit, but for the most part, Amanda Ribas landed and were damaged, and she was doing well. And then the second round comes around, and Tabatha Ricci gets her on the fence and lands a vicious elbow straight into Amanda Ribas's eye. Straight into her eye. Like, literally, like, the point of her elbow right into her eyeball. And then just Amanda Ribas, she was rattled down to one knee, and Tabatha Ricci just swarms her. I've never seen Tabatha Ricci like punch that much in a fight. Swarms her and just finishes her with ground and pound in the second round. So, I mean, it's just weird because, like, Ivo Aslan's just not doing anything. Tabatha Ricci gets this, I mean, it was a good elbow, but, I mean, come on. She landed that elbow right in her eyeball. If she would have landed that anywhere else, Amanda Ribas would have been okay and would have persisted to probably piece her up like she was in the first round. So, I mean, good win by Tabatha Ricci. We're not taking anything away from you. That was a good win, but I should have been 2-2, guys. Should have been 2-2 on the night. But instead, I'm 1-3 after this fight. Tabatha Ricci wins by TKO, second round. Now this fight. This fight was an interesting fight, because Damon Blackshear comes out and he gets the takedown in the first round. And I mean, he did the takedown with like 4 minutes left in the round. He's controlling Davey Grant for like 3 minutes. I mean, he's threatening rear naked chokes. He's threatening arm bars. And, Davey Grant was putting up a lot of resistance. And so you see Damon Blackshear is expending a lot of energy to try and each time he was attempting something new. I mean, Davey Grant would be trying to get up and he would have to expend more energy to try and pull Davey Grant back to the ground. That just didn't bode well for him, man. I mean, the guy was tired. You saw it in the second round. He slowed down a lot. Davey comes out to his body, landing some nice body shots, hard shots, man. And he starts chewing up Damon's legs. Like, bad. I mean, at the end of the second round, Damon, I don't know if it was blood, but he's black, first of all, right? He's a dark man. Like, he's not like a light-skinned black guy. And his leg was, like, beet red. Like, the first layer of his skin, the epidermis, I think is what it's called, was, like, torn off completely. And it was just red. Clearly swollen. I mean, Davey Grant landed some good shots in the second round. I mean, he started with the body, and he was landing some good some good shots to the head. Like I said, was I wrong or was I right? I did say Davey Grant was crafty and that he had good setups and all that stuff. I said this, okay? So was I wrong or was I right, guys? I was wrong. I was wrong. All right, so the third round, I mean, Damon's attempting takedowns, and he's getting them in. Like, I mean, he was fully in on a double leg. I think even in the second round, he was fully in on a double leg, and Davey just, the takedown defense was pretty good, and he persists to do what he did in the second round and just pieced Damon up for the rest of the round. And Davey Grant wins by. He wins by decision, man. He wins by decision. So at this point, I'm 1-4. Listen, I will say this. It gets better, okay? So just stand by. It gets much better. I start cooking. But it's a rough start. A lot of just things that I mean, especially in the Ribas and Aslan fight. I mean, the Amanda Ribas fight. Things you can't control, right? You can't really control those things. Someone lands an elbow directly into your eyeball. I mean, no one has aim. Tabatha Ricci does not have that type of aim. I promise she doesn't have that type of aim. Okay? If she were to do like axe throwing or something, I bet she's like way the fuck off. Like, I bet she's like not even close to the bullseye, or like darts or some shit. So for her to land the elbow directly into someone's eye like that, okay? All right, whatever, man. Okay. All right, now this fight, I'll have to take it on the chin here, okay? I'll have to take it on the chin. I was off on this fight as well. Carlos Leal comes in, he's pressuring like I thought he would, but I did not account for like his lack of defense. The guy, I mean, I know he's a big, strong guy, and like he thinks he could just walk through power, but this is a learning lesson. You can't do that. You have to defend yourself while you're throwing. He's just throwing these wild, looping, crazy shots, and Muslim Salikhov just slips one of his punches and comes over with a right overhand and times it perfectly right to his cheekbone, flattens him out. Holy shit, that shit was crazy. I was freaking out. Because Muslim, although he's 41, I mean, the king of Kung Fu. I mean, I guess they weren't lying, man. This guy really is the king of Kung Fu, even at 41. Muslim's good, I just thought that the physicality, Carlos was a bigger, stronger guy. And listen, you cannot come in to fights thinking you're just gonna like march forward and it's blitzkrieg everybody. Like, Alex Morono is one thing, but Muslim Salikhov has legit knockout power. He's knocked out many people in his career. He's the king of Kung Fu, and you learned that the hard way today, my friend. So, because of you, I'm 1-5. Look, hey, listen, man. Listen. It does. I know it gets better. Okay? All right? This fight, all right. Bryce Mitchell versus Said Nurmagomedov. Okay? Bryce Mitchell comes out. Said comes out. And Said's like, beating his ass. He's picking away at Bryce Mitchell. He's landing, good kicks, and he lands this vicious knee up the middle in the first round. Drops Bryce Mitchell. This is what I'm saying, guys. These things don't happen. This is a professional fighter, right? So he drops Bryce Mitchell. Hurts him badly. Bryce Mitchell's in La La Land, high on the shrooms, like on the floor, just like had no idea where he was, like just looking into emptiness, like did not know what was going on. Said then proceeds to come into dominant position in ground and pound. Is raining down punches. I mean, like vicious punches. Here's the problem: not one of those punches are hitting Bryce. It's like he's freaking like dyslexic or something. Like he was hitting literally the canvas, the mat, the octagon mat. So just imagine a guy is laying on his back, right? You're over top of the guy, no homo, pause, and you're punching down. You're throwing, like raining punches down on a guy that's like literally like he just got like concussed almost, right? That's how hard of a knee this was. This was a beautiful time knee. And so the guy's in La La Land, high on shrooms, remember? And so he comes and he's raining down punches, and he's hitting not one punch hit Bryce Mitchell. He hits the canvas, the mat, every single punch. Just imagine what that looks like. The man is I don't understand. I was sitting there just like, how on earth did he just miss every single ground and pound attempt to a severely hurt opponent? It made no sense to me. And so this is what I mean, okay? So even though I lost this one, okay, I should have won. All right? God, man. How do you miss like 8 literally, he threw like 8 punches in a row, and I'm talking about like going in. Like, you ever seen somebody just like going in? Misses every single punch, is punching the fucking the octagon on that. Like, what the fuck, bro? Man, so Bryce recovers, right? And the second round starts, right? So the second round starts, and Bryce shoots immediately. He's like, we're not risking these knees up the middle. I'm not risking getting hit again like that. He shoots immediately, and he's in, and he gets the takedown. He gets the takedown, and he isolates Said's arm, and you could tell Bryce is a little bit rocked still, because he's just like holding Said's arm isolated, and he's like laying on top of it, like just laying on top of Said with the isolated arm. So you could tell Bryce is still a little bit rocked, but he just kind of lays there for like, it had to be like a minute, man. It was just like, and it was crazy because I thought he was about to do something with his arm, like go for like a Kimura or something like that, but eventually Said does reverse Bryce, and he reverses him. He's on top for a bit. Bryce works his way back up to his feet, and Bryce lands like his third takedown, and takes Said. This was a crazy takedown. It was like he like got up and like, you ever watch Bill Goldberg on like WWE or WCW where he like used to gore guys? It was literally like he like gored him into the mat, like, and took him down. So Bryce wins the second round. So it's 1-1 going to the third. Bryce is very, very, very persistent in the third. This to start the third with the takedown. And he gets the takedown, but Said like gets him into like a guillotine attempt, and he's like stroking him. Bryce reverses the scrambles were fun. I'm not gonna lie, even though Bryce won the last 2 rounds, and I was wrong on this pick. because someone doesn't know how to land a punch on when someone's concussed on the ground. Like the reversals, it was fun. There's a lot of grappling, fun grappling exchanges. I mean, there's a lot of scrambles. There was a lot going on in this fight. It was fun to watch. Bryce Mitchell does look strong at bantamweight, so I could see him doing pretty good in this division. Yeah, I think he'll do well. I just think that he showed. And Said's good. Said's good. He's lost 3 of his last 4, but they're against high level competition. Again, Vinicius Oliveira. He's losing now to Bryce Mitchell. Can't remember the other person he lost to, but he's lost 3 of his last 4. So yeah, Said. Maybe it's time for some lower ranked competition, and I can only imagine his practice with Khabib on Monday, how brutal that's gonna be. But anyways, yeah. So Bryce Mitchell by decision, guys, and again, this should have been a first round finish, but fumbled, major fumble by Said. Nikita Krylov versus, and listen, this is where we start to cook, y'all. We start to cook. Now, remember what I said? I said that Nikita was going to blitz in with something telegraphed, and he was going to get countered. He throws a leg kick. I mean, this is in the first round, and been pretty much, up until this point, not much happened. He throws an empty leg kick. Bogdan just catches him right down the middle. Bink! Out cold. Yeah, puts him away. Nikita had to be helped up. Now, this is Nikita's second KO in a row. I just think he's fallen off, man. And like I said in my prediction video, I think that Nikita is just not the same anymore. Yeah, they're going to have to get him lower levels of competition. I mean, he's 33, though. Whoa. He's not even that old. Yeah, he might have to go down and get some lower levels of ranks of competition because, this was 2 brutal knockouts in a row after taking 2 years off. And listen, we don't know what was happening. He's from Ukraine, or used to be from Ukraine. I don't know what happened over there. When he was gone for 2 years, I don't know what happened. Okay, let's be honest. There's a lot going on in the world right now. No idea what he went through. So, I mean, that could have took a toll on him, and he could be a different person, So lower level ranks of competition. I mean, he has had like a 40 fights, so maybe it's time you hang it up. I don't know. But again, 3 years ago I would have picked Nikita. I knew what time it was. Bogdan gets the first round KO. All right, Jose Ochoa versus Aslan Almabayev. So Asu gets like this body lock in the first round, and he takes Jose down on bring him he clenches him up on the fence, gets the takedown. He lands, the more significant strikes in the round. I mean, there wasn't much striking. I know Jose did outland him throughout the fight, but Asu had the more significant strikes. He landed a overhand right and a head kick, I think it was, to this in the first round. He landed 2 takedowns in the first round, so he had the more significant strikes. He had the bigger moments. He had the more top control. And so he wins the first round. Round 2, Asu gets a single leg, and he uses Jose's momentum. This is a beautiful takedown. This was very similar to what Makhachev did to Dustin Poirier when he got that takedown in the 4th round and strangled Dustin. This was similar to that. He uses his legs and whips in and uses his momentum to whip Jose Ochoa down to the ground. Jose gets back up. He's throwing leg kicks. Asu times the leg kick and takes him down again. He was landing knees to the body in a clinch. Asu was, doing some good work. He landed a takedown at the end of the round and landed, a little bit of ground and pound. A couple of nothing shots, but he was, landing. So, he gets the second round. In the third round, he gets a takedown early and in the round, but Jose had him in a tight guillotine, and Jose does get out, and he is landing elbows, and again, the majority of the fight went this way. I had this at 30-27. As I said, Aslan Almabayev would win by decision, and that happened. So we're cooking now in the main card, guys. The prelims we had it was a little rough, but main card comes and we're cooking. Next fight on the card. Now this was a fun fight. This is war-esque. This was a war. There's a lot of damage done to both sides. I mean, the first round comes and Shara's on the back foot for the most part. Mark did get a takedown early, but he didn't do much with it. Shara was landing a lot on the back foot. The second round comes around, and this is where things gets a little more scrappy. Shara's landing body kicks and elbows, stepping elbows, cut Marc-Andre Barry over his forehead, over his head. He cut him open bad. He was leaking. Mark did have moments. He rocked Shara in the round. He had him on the fence. He was landing some good shots. Busted up Shara's nose. Yeah, the second round was scrapped. So much so that it's arguable that you can give it to Mark. Shara does have some nasty tie clinch work though, man. He had Mark in a tie clinch. He was landing some vicious knees to the body, to the face, right up the middle. I mean, he had Mark really hurt, and I think that Mark in the middle of the round had more success, and I think at the end of the round, Shara had Mark really hurt to the point where he was like running away, literally running away. I'm not even joking. Turned and ran away. So I did the 30-26. Shara in the third, he was landing stepping elbows. I mean, Mark was exhausted at this point. He was hitting knees, tie clench knees to the body. He hit a flying knee at one point. He had some scramble happen. I can't remember exactly. And Shara had Mark on the ground. He was landing ground and pound to him. So yeah, this is in my opinion Shara Magomedov's most impressive performance. Yeah, you could tell he's molding into his own. This fight is a proper depiction of how he looks with the one eye and the pirate look, and this fight was a proper depiction of that. It was an ugly, grimy, messy war that he basically he kind of schooled him, but Mark had his moments where he hurt Shara a little bit and he made the fight fun. And Shara has a chin. Mark was cracking him with some shots and bloodied him up. And Shara never shied away. He actually was egging Mark on at one time. So, yeah, this was a fun fight to watch. And again, I said that Shara would win. And he did. This fight right here, amazing fight. So, Petr Yan versus Marcus Miggy. Now, I said this would be the most fun fight. I do think that the Shara fight was a little bit better, even though Shara kind of beat him up. It was a fun fight. That was a back and they were both hurting each other. It was a war. This fight was much more tactical. You saw in the first round, I do think that Marcus Miggy landed some nice straights right down the middle. He was landing some nice leg kicks on Yan. Yan does this thing where he does start a little slow at times. But then, he had moments where, he kicked Marcus Miggy's legs from underneath him. He landed a beautiful jab, hook, left combo in the first. It was a very close round, but I do think that Marcus Miggy landed the more significant shots and he landed the better shots in the first round. Although Yan definitely does what Yan does, and he in the pocket, just controlling the octagon, walking Miggy down, had Miggy on the back majority of the fight. Doing what Yan does, you know what I mean? So the first round could have went either way. I did give it to Marcus Miggy though. So second round, Yan lands. He lands a right straight, right, that stumbles Marcus Miggy back, and that was the most significant strike of the round. And he did also land the overhand right as well. So he landed the more significant strikes in the round. I mean, he was landing flying knees. Miggy was landing too. Again, he was landing some nice leg kicks. He was landing some nice. I didn't see much of his body kicks in this fight. But again, I said that because of Yan's stance switches, he was going to be able to negate some of that work that Miggy likes to do. Again, I think that Yan lands the more significant strikes in this round. And he took round two. They both also were doing a lot of good clinch work. Both landing in the clinch. It looked like Yan, even in the clinch, was landing the better shots. Yan was hitting him with some bombs. And pressuring McGee. You could see Jan just building through the fight like he normally does, where he started a little slower in the first round. And again, I think that McGee won the first round. You see Jan pick it up and win the second round. Okay, round 3 now. Jan, again, it's this much of the same, as it was in round 2. But I think that you saw Jan do some crafty things where he's like, okay, you know what, this fight's close. The first round could have went either way. Even the second round, the first round could have went either way. The second round, he did, I think he obviously won that round. The third round, he's saying, okay, if it's 1-1, that's a little too close for my liking. He gets a takedown, but McGee gets right back up. He does get a trip on McGee, and he gets a trip on McGee, but McGee gets back up, and so Jan is basically at this point for the pretty much about a minute and a half to 2 minutes was like he had McGee's back, both on their feet, and he's just landing knees to the back of McGee's thigh, just making sure he edges out the win. Smart veteran move, He did give us a fun 2 rounds, so hey, listen, I'm not mad with you, being a little boring in the third, but even after they McGee broke the grip, they went right back to scrapping. Again, I think that Jan with the control time, and he landed again more those trips that he landed, the takedown. I think that got him the third round. And so Jan wins. This was a 29-28. I said it would be 30-27, but 29-28. I think this secures Jan for another title shot. I probably will do a full breakdown for that video versus Merab, because I do think Merab will beat Corey Sandhagen. I think this fight will set him up to fight Merab next, and I think that will be a better fight. I think it'll be a much better fight than people have it right now. I think that everybody would say that Merab would probably put on a masterclass like he did last time against Peter Yan, but I think Peter Yan will make the right adjustments. He's a smart fighter, and I think this will be a much more fun fight in the Merab versus Yan too. And with that being said, now time for the main event, guys. So this was a fun fight. Now this was a war. This will probably, I'd have to go and look at which fight got fight of the night. Not sure, to be honest, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was this one. This one was a war, man. The first round, Rob is just piston like jab. Rob is quick. He's in and out like I said he was. Reiner's like whiffing at air. Literally couldn't touch him. Rob is stuffing takedowns. He landed a 1-2 snap Reinier de Ridder's head back. He's doing just vintage Whittaker like stuff, And he looked very, very good, man, in the first round. The second round comes though, and Reinier does what Reinier does. Even though it doesn't look the prettiest, man. The pressure he brings, and he starts landing his jab, and he starts getting close. He gets close, because that's the thing with Reinier. He just wants to get close to you so he can use you, push you on the fence, lean on you. He's a giant man. Pause. He's huge, right? So he wants to lean on you, push you up on the fence, and just land to the body. Even though they look like nothing shots, he's landing a bunch to Robert Whittaker's body, and you could tell it's wearing on Whittaker a little bit, and it was a wait, is that the round that? No, okay, so basically, in this round, RDR gets Whittaker down. Okay, so sorry, my bad, I mixed up the rounds. So he takes Whittaker down, and he's landing ground and pound, and he hurt. You could tell that he hurt Whittaker bad. And we go into the third round now, and Whittaker comes back, drops RDR, man, really, really badly, right? Just cracks him, drops him, and he's raining down ground and pound. He's raining down elbows on RDR. And, I personally think he punched himself out, because after, he doesn't put Robert Reinier away. Reinier is able to get his wits back about him, and he recovers. And, he eventually gets back up. And for the remainder of the round, this was the round that I said was very, very close. I still give it to Whittaker because of the knockdown, but it was close because once RDR got back up, he was landing pretty well. He was marching forward like he was in the second. He had Robert Whittaker up against the fence, and he was landing knees to the body. But like I said, I still gave the round to Whittaker because of the knockdown. But that round could have went either way. So at this point, we're in a full-fledged war. RDR in the fourth, he comes out with a clench, and he's throwing vicious knees to the body. He's relentless with his takedowns in this round. He really, really wanted to get the takedowns in this round because he wanted to make sure, okay, well, if Whittaker did win last round, I got to make sure I get this one because, again, Whittaker won the first. I believe Reinier won the second. Whittaker with a knockdown potentially win the third, right? So now he has to come back. He's relentless with the takedown. Whittaker did a good job defending, even reversing one of the takedowns at first, but Reinier was just relentless and just continued and persisted. And again, in the clinch, he was throwing knees, throwing body shots. Just out-volleying him and overwhelming, Robert Whittaker. And you could tell that he was just the physicality and just the size difference. It looked like Reinier was in a different weight class. Just humongous human being. It's crazy. 6'4". He's big, man. So he's just weighing on Whittaker. He wanted to lean on him, just hit him with body shots. Keep him in that tie clinch and just use knees to the body. And you could tell it was impacting Whittaker a lot. He wasn't doing well with that type of damage. Round 5 comes, and similar, to that last round, Reinier is, he's got a lot of clinch work with to the body. He's using a lot of body shots in the clinch. Again, he's relentless with pressure forward. He seemed to just press Whittaker against the fence, like I said, and just land to the body throughout the fight. And you could tell that he was overwhelming Whittaker. Whittaker did land some good shots, and even in the 5th round, Whittaker did look fresh coming out. I thought he was actually going to start taking over. I thought he was saving it for the 5th. I was like, it clicked. I was like, oh, it made sense. He was waiting for the 5th. But he had about a minute of really good energy, and then it just kind of Reinier just started to impose his will again. And I just think that Reinier just landed the better body shots. He was really going to his body, man. I think that really slowed down Whittaker because Whittaker likes to do a lot of movement. So when you target the body, yeah, you're gonna slow someone down. And I think that's what happened in this fight. And Reinier de Ridder gets a good win, gets his hand raised. So I got this one wrong, guys. But again, like I said, I was 6 for 7 on the night. I'm sorry, 5 for 7 on the night. So, every now and then you have those nights, guys. We'll be back next card or next I think next week is Tattoo Terra versus next week is Tattoo Terra in the main event. Amir Abazi. Jesus. Oh man. Right. So next week, we'll come back better and we'll do better on that card. And with that being said, guys, listen, I want to appreciate you guys. We are over 100 likes. Comments are going crazy. Interactions are going crazy. Just keep it going, guys. Keep interacting. I'll react to what you guys are saying. And yeah, guys, have a good rest of your night.